Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. I had to, guys. I had to. The channel name is William Jakespeare. I have to make some kind of Shakespeare reference once a year. I wanted to do a droid build update today, but I've been tasked with returning Halloween decorations, and as many of you have already deduced, the Halloween store was gone. Erased from existence. This is blank because I can't expose a Polaroid. Lost art. Shocking, right? They're seasonal. So, looks like I gotta do something with these skulls, otherwise it's just wasted money. Those $5 shall not have been spent in vain! So first I filled in some of the obviously artificial holes with quick seal. It's just a putty. Any spackle will do. And then cut the bottom open just to make the back of the teeth look a bit more realistic. It's hard to get close to the edges without damaging areas that you don't want to cut. So I just did a super rough cut with the disc Dremel bit and then refined it with the drum bit. This type of plastic turns to powder and just gets everywhere when it's being sanded. So wear a dust mask and clean out the skull before you attempt to glue anything to it. I cut out the sides, being sure to get rid of the organic squiggly skull plate edge. I'm not a biologist, guys. You know, most of my real life friends are in medicine and they're just like, you have no idea what you're talking about. Although this being YouTube, that's what a lot of the comments are anyway, so that's not any different from normal. Also cut a hole in the top for later and drilled out the eye hole. Oh god, it's just like Star Trek. First Contact, where he gets drilled in the eye by the Borg. Future space cyborgs, but they use drill bits for their eye exams. That one's off center. Now I gotta even it out. Oh yeah, what do we do? Oh no, making it worse. Be the worst eye doctor ever. The sockets don't have to be completely drilled out because next I'm adding these domes from a gumball machine prize capsule, if that's a thing that you have where you live. Only the most specific and hardest to find materials are used in these builds. Next, the medallion headpiece to the Staff of Ra. I'm gonna wire these up with LEDs later, but I still have to do some drilling into this, so I held off on the LEDs for now in favor of working on the pistons. These are just sponge brush handles that I've cut down and stuck chopsticks that I've also cut down into the opening that normally the brush part would screw into. I drilled into the jaw to help them stay in place. Then I glued them in and closed the jaw. Now that I'm done with the destructive tools part of it, I added the LEDs. Originally I was going to use those Halloween store candles, but I think like the flickering like fire looks a bit too mystical for what I'm doing. In the end I want this to be like mechanical and cybernetic and all that, but such a tough call. It kept me up at nights. What types of LEDs to use in my props? Then I used bits of foam to beef up the face and the jaw. I also taped off parts that I did not want to get covered in paint. I got those circular ones, by the way, by putting sticker paper through a 3-hole punch because I couldn't find my single hole punch. Next I cut these little bits of foam to use as vents and glued them into the sides of the skull. I refined those with my rotary tool. Then I started yakking it up with science nonsense. I wanted to use actual speakers for the ears, but I couldn't find two that were the exact same diameter. Things don't break in unison. A lot of my stuff is random. So instead I used acrylic paint lids as well as circuit boards from Dead Electronics. Now that that's done, I painted the whole thing black. I actually kind of like it like this, but it's not really necessary right now. I don't know, that's like a good idea if you want a shard cyborg head. I'm endlessly searching for the best chrome paint. So today, I'm experimenting with Molotov refills for my paint pen, which I mostly use to trace the cut lines onto black foam because it's easy to see, or really just any foam. And you know what? I like it. Probably would have come out a little bit better if I'd sealed the foam parts and done the base coat in gloss black, which by all means you guys can do, but then you're adding like 2 weeks of dry time in between layers of paint. And I don't want resources going to this project at the expense of other projects. This is just literally a spur-of-the-moment thing, because as my regular viewers know, I've got multiple projects going on at once. On that note, I want to thank my Patreons, whose contribution allows me to keep making these videos. To be more specific, these materials, they run out, and the video equipment breaks down. So what I'm saying, your contribution makes these videos possible. I mean, you're literally paying for the real, tangible things. In fact, the 3 new people from the previous video, your contribution is covering exactly 1 sheet of EVA foam, which is just barely enough to make the next droid video. In fact, I think if you were to plan it out perfectly, you'd build a whole commando droid with a regular 4-pack of EVA foam. Although they do sell it in 6-packs. for like $4 more, so you know. You don't need to plan it meticulously. But yeah, every little bit counts, so if you can support me, link to the Patreon page is below in the description. And now I believe in-camera Jake has something to say about the paint job. Okay, now if you get like way close in, you can sort of see the foam parts are splotchy, and a way to get around that is to seal it first in, well, I mean, you guys have watched the channel, you know, Plasti-Zip. Actually, I was about to do white glue as a sealant on this, which I used to do a lot more often, just because this isn't meant to bend. But I really don't have a lot of time to spend on this. I gotta get back to the droid. So this is fine for me, because when you get far enough away from it to see the whole thing, it's so bright. The shiny parts sort of wash out the less than shiny parts. But yeah, let's get the tape off of that. In fact, this shot is being filmed in incredibly low light with like a day for night gel over the one light that I'm using to illuminate the shot. That's why it's like a little bit blue. It's because the silver is just blowing out the lens, like all the other lights on it that I would normally use is just all shining back in the lens, making it impossible to see any kind of detail. Ah, he's got white teeth. I love it, he's got white teeth. Oh, except right there, there's a little bit of leak right there. But still, though. That's actually why spacesuits are white now instead of silver, like in the early days of the space program. Because the suits were just too blinding to even look at once they were in space, above the cloud cover. Nice. Ah, and it is like all light leak. It's supposed to be just the dots that are visible. And I knew there was going to be some light leak, so I blacked it out with just the cheapest of black spray paint. For you guys, I would recommend acrylic. Still though, I like it. It's pretty good for like no planning whatsoever. Dun, 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 dun. And that's how to make a Terminator. Alright, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you can subscribe and or check out all the other videos, because, you know, it takes a couple weeks between uploads sometimes. There's gotta be like days worth, like seasons worth of content by now. But yeah, feel free to check those out. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I upload. I had a question I was gonna ask you. Oh, right. What's your favorite movie robot? Let me know in comments below. See you later. Alas, poor Arnie. I knew him, Linda Hamilton.